Hello, and welcome to episode 16 of the Rubber Nipple Podcast. I'm your co-host, Sam, here with the one, the only, the best host of the Rubber Nipple Podcast, Brandon Nichols.
Do we need to restart it, or you just want to go with it?
No, we just go with it. That's the fun part about doing
So
this.
is there a backstory to that one? Because usually I know backstories to everything.
So my goal, when I thought about this, because I was, had discussed what I was going to call the podcast prior to us starting, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something random because my goal was to make you laugh.
Good job. I was not expecting it.
So hey, and I wanted to say for your friends that were on last week, excellent job. And I thought you did a fantastic job. It was great to kind of hear like how you guys knew each other, how you guys got into games. I think you did fantastic. That was a really good podcast.
Thank you. It's weird. So I've done podcasts with Jeff before. Yeah. But all my podcasts with Jeff have been done over the internet, where I'm recording and I've just got headphones on and we're talking to each other. I'm not with them. You and my wife are the only people I've actually sat in front of and talked to and recorded. So, well, I guess not counting the people we've had on this show so far. Yeah, correct. But those were like just one-offs, like little quick things. Like, and even to be honest, so like I didn't know Zach very well. Yeah. I at that night had only met Justin once. Right. And even though I know him, Thunder Games champion Justin.
Chiefs extraordinaire fan.
Chiefs extraordinaire. Second only to, never mind.
With the best.
Which, by the way,
Goomba-like hair.
I don't know when the next time you're going to see Justin, if Justin ever feels like driving his ass back up here again.
Corn Dog Day.
Corn Dog Day? And we might go down to that. I'm not sure.
Hey, you should.
He sent us an invite.
It's a lot of fun.
In case for some reason I can't go down, not only do I have that newspaper we need to give him for the Chiefs victory, I bought an extra bottle of the Chateau Championship bottle milk.
Oh, nice.
So he was like, you drink the milk, I just want the bottle. So I'm giving him the bottle. Anyways, so having them here and having known them as long as I've known them, and it was just it was like, this is different. Not to mention, and they don't know this, I sat on the opposite side of the table from where I sit when I talk to you. So, and it was basically because, like, if I'm sitting here talking to you, you see, I glance over at the thing to make sure everything's recording just fine all the time. Yeah. I had a feeling if it was them, they probably kept going, why are you looking over your shoulder?
So, like, wait a minute. So does that mean there's a problem with me? Like, I never questioned that.
No, there's not a problem with you. Okay. But that's the thing, was I didn't want them to like be like, what are you doing?
What's going on?
Right.
Whereas that distraction.
Right. Where you
understood.
You're used to me glancing over my shoulder and making sure it's still
recording.
Well,
it was an excellent podcast. I love hearing, like I said, the stories that they had, and it was fun. It was fun to listen to our podcast
with somebody else
on it. I enjoyed it immensely, and I hope that in the future, if I'm not able to attend, that you have more guests.
Well, Steve has said he is now a regular listener, so shout out.
Awesome.
Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for listening.
Jeff claims to have listened to one, but he can get really busy.
You know what, Jeff? I appreciate listening to the one.
So, how was LA?
LA, good, the good and the bad. LA is temperate weather. It's beautiful basically all day. It starts getting a little colder in the evening, for anybody that's been out there.
Like colder, California colder, or out
California
here cold?
Colder. Okay. No, not Missouri colder. California colder. Right. So it was one of those, but I was prepared for that, and it wasn't a problem. First day, I decided, I was like, once I get there, I'm going to get into my B&B. I'm going to go, and I heard all about the metro. Hey, ride the metro. It's nice. It's clean. It's an easy way to get around. So I did. I took the metro from downtown LA.
Was it clean and easy to get around?
Yeah, it was. It was clean and easy. Get around. I did question if I had bed bugs at a second. I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then I was like, no bed bugs. I just itchy. So I rode it to Santa Monica Pier.
Oh, nice.
That was fun. I mean, kind of just taking a look at it. I don't think I've ever been down there. I've only been to LA one other time, and it was for E3. Gosh, I mean, prior to.
So you've actually been to an E3?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I think over 13 years ago.
Oh,
we went there.
Wow.
We who? Ago. Me and Emily.
Oh, you and Emily.
My wife. Yeah.
Did she enjoy that?
She didn't go. She didn't go and attend. I just went to to kind of experience it. I've always wanted to go to the expos. But one of the things about that is I never really had a plan or anybody else to really go with me. So Emily was willing to come with me. And I will say during that visit in LA, we made it more of a vacation, but I was a super lame traveler. I didn't plan anything. We basically just kind of hung out in the hotel. We went down to the Walk of Fame with the stars and everything. I just wasn't very adventurous. I was more of a homebody.
And you said 13, so this was pre-kids.
Yeah, Emily was pregnant with our oldest.
Oh, okay.
Time. And so, yeah, we were down there for that. And I mean, it was cool. We saw, there was what do they call it? The red carpet walk for, there was Poseidon. The movie had come out with Kurt Russell.
Oh, wow.
Josh Lucas was in. I know. Isn't that funny? And
right.
we just happened to be down there. And we got pictures of them just like walking along from a distance, not close or by any means or anything. But that was kind of neat to see. But we didn't really do a whole lot else other than me going to the expo and just kind of like walking around and looking at stuff. I didn't go into like the display area because you had to pay like $600, and I was like, oh. Even though Emily gave me, she's like, if you want to do that, you go ahead. But I just couldn't
go ahead, right?
I couldn't justify.
No, I wouldn't be on $600.
I just couldn't do it. But it was cool to see all the displays and the posters.
Plus, they do the posters outside, and like every time E3 rolls around, it's really cool. Where like they just show the side of buildings. They just put entire billboards up, and it's like, what in the hell?
Well, and that was so. The other thing that was neat about LA is, as I put on some of our group things, is there was a bunch of pictures, like just paintings on murals on buildings and walls that were beautiful, and sculptures and just all sorts of stuff everywhere. I felt like I was playing a Grand Theft Auto game where you were collecting the snapshots of like, oh, make sure you get this tag. Now get this tag. And I jokingly would take a picture and be like 320 and then take a picture of another 319. I'm almost there. So that was fun. And, went to Venice Beach when I was down by Santa Monica Pier. And it was cool to see and experience and just see, like the areas for skateboarders and the Muscle Beach and just all the different things they have.
With a whole bunch of guys out there working out?
No, there actually was not. I was a little disappointed. I think I went up a little bit too late to see them working out.
And maybe it may not be that big in the middle of February.
Yeah, that's true.
It is. I know it's still California and better weather, but
in addition to that, so doing these things, like I was by myself pretty much this entire time, and I'm just kind of roaming.
Well, you're not at your event stuff you're doing.
Yeah, well, it hadn't been going on yet. So while it was fun to see all this stuff, when you experience stuff by yourself, it's like, well, that's cool, but if you had somebody else just to kind of talk about, chat about what's going on, or make fun of something here, and go grab a bite to eat a food somewhere here, it's more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So even though I am a little bit more introverted, I know that that's more enjoyable.
Well, speaking of wanting to go to expos, I've always wanted to go to C2E2, so I'll just throw that out there for you.
Where's that at?
Chicago.
Oh, dude, I'm in. I don't even know what the C2X2 is.
C2E2 is C2E2 is the hey Siri, what does C2E2 stand for? I forgot how it is exactly.
Siri's not good.
I found this on the web for what does C2E2 stand for.
Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo.
Okay.
So, but they do both
electronics
and comic book stuff type.
Cool.
So, two things that
C2E2.
Yeah.
So, but so LA was good. My conference was really good. Learned a lot of good, valuable information about neurology, specifically strokes. The weather was nice. Sad that I wasn't there. Once I kind of connected with the group of people that went with me, that was more enjoyable. But then when I was by myself again after they left, I went down to like the Grand Central Market area, got like food there, went to the Broad, which is an art museum. And once again, very cool, but by yourself.
Nobody to share it with.
Yeah, just nobody to share it with.
Did you try any interesting cuisine while you were there because you were...
I got a big burrito. I did, one of the...
Oh, yeah, you were in LA. Did you get tacos? No good tacos nowhere?
Well, I don't know. I've always heard the burritos are good. Oh, and I did get tacos there was a Mexican restaurant there, Rosa's, I believe, that we went, that was close to the convention center. And I got tacos there, street tacos, and they were pretty dang good.
Yeah. I have to talk to my buddy's brother-in-law, Ryan, who you met yesterday, his brother-in-law, Jeff. They took us to this authentic Mexican restaurant while we were in San Diego for Comic-Con, and it was like, this place is amazing. And I wish I was like, I want to go back.
Just need that in your life.
Yes, I do. I need some authentic, and there might be real authentic Mexican in the middle of the country, but there's just something different when you're
a little closer to the border, just kind of
right. I feel like authentic XYZ cuisine in the middle of the Midwest is by a chef who went and studied abroad and is always going to put their own kind of influence in. It's different from somebody who's like literally, oh, I live like right over here. This is my culture. This is where I'm from. I'm making you my cuisine.
Exactly.
So
that was it. How was your week without Sam?
It was okay. You know, I didn't. We texted a couple times, but it was so lonely.
I know I sent you a couple lines like this made me think of you.
Yes, and I loved the art stuff you sent me. I thought it was pretty cool. No, it was okay. It was hectic because the kids and my oldest, and I know you weren't here for it, but your oldest, the play. I keep saying play, and I keep getting yelled at. Musical. Yeah. Took place, and
it looked amazing.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. They had a couple hiccups on the first night.
Yeah, I heard they were played off pretty well.
They did. So our kids were in Willy Wonka Jr. And probably my favorite, which was a mishap, but they did a hilarious job of, was Mike TV, where he gets transplanted into the television. The little doll that got put into the television fell out.
Oh, yeah.
And face planted and rolled and hit the ground. Everybody had the heart, like the crowd immediately giggled a little. But all the kids did amazing at holding their composure. The kid who was now off stage with a microphone that was supposed to be the doll was like, oh, okay, that hurt. And it was which made it harder for the kid playing Willy Wonka to hold his composure.
Yeah.
And the only time in the 2 nights I watched this play or this musical, this kid ever actually used the cane for what it was for, was leaning on, was when he was trying not to laugh and he was kind of hunched over and holding himself up with the cane. But he even walked over and started talking to the doll while it was on the ground, as in
that's awesome.
like, you know, and I was like, well done. The part that really impressed me was the kid that did Charlie. On the first night, he had a musical cue where he was supposed to find his golden ticket, and there was supposed to be a musical cue that was supposed to start his song while he opened up the chocolate, found it, did his routine, played it off into the next scene.
Yeah.
Well, he started flipping over the little fake candy bar thing and nothing was happening. And like, I didn't know what was happening. And then he just started singing.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite make sense. And it was like, this feels really off. What is happening? But he kept going and he kept going. And then what was really cool was in the back of the audience up on the mezzanine was the theater department for the high school. Uh-huh. And they could tell what had happened was there was supposed to be a musical cue that this kid was supposed to be singing to.
Gotcha.
And he just said, screw it, I'm going to do it without it. And he was going to try to remember the beats. And he was struggling, but he was doing a good job and he was persevering.
Yeah.
But the theater group started clapping like into the rhythm of how he was singing.
Yeah.
And the whole audience started clapping.
Awesome.
And so we all kind of just started doing it, and he went with it, and he gained his composure while he was singing and dancing on the stage. And then the music kicked on like mid-song, and it really took off with it and kept it going, completed the scene and went on. It was a cool moment where I even told the kid afterwards, like, dude, to pull that off, because middle school, 7th grade, he probably could have been 8th grader, but still, a middle school kid in that situation, crickets.
Not just stopping and kind of being like, well.
And there was and you could tell, because the second he gets the candy bar on the second night is when the music kicked in.
Gotcha.
So he got that candy bar and he held it for a good 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Waiting. And he just kept doing this, flipping the candy bar over. Like he was looking at it, and I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, this is a weird, awkward little thing. What's happening? And then he started singing, and I'm like, why does this kid not have? I didn't realize it was because he didn't have music. He was waiting for the cue. So the second night, he got that candy bar, and the music hit. And Monica, my wife, and I look at each other like, there it is. That's how quickly it was supposed to have hit.
Wow.
But I told him, I said, dude, you did a great job, like on that, because most kids would have just frozen and not been able to do it.
Well, and my wife sent me a couple of videos from it, and all the kids looked great. I will say the guy that was playing Willie seemed incredibly picked for the role.
He was.
He seemed like he fit so well.
I want you to know, and I've always thought this of your daughter because our kids have been in choir together for forever.
Yeah.
She has a very strong voice. Yeah, she does. And towards the end of the play, all the kids and their parents that were whisked away for being bad children come back in and start singing the main Willy Wonka song.
Right.
You can't hear a damn kid singing, but I'll be God, I didn't hear your daughter in both nights. Both nights I'm thinking, Well, first of all, I was wondering why they didn't have their mics on.
Right.
Because they still were wearing them.
Right.
So I was like, why don't they have their mics on? But I'm like, well,
there's Anya.
There's Anya carrying the crowd. Like, and I was like, it wasn't even I turned away and I'm going, that's her. I hear her.
Oh, yes.
And she did her part to ham it up on the stage as much as she could.
Yeah.
So
I was very proud of the parts I saw, and I told her myself.
Yes.
I was so disappointed. I was in at this conference and I missed it all, but hopefully I'll get it again.
Next year.
Yes.
Next year.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you, after the second night when we were leaving, Austin was like, I can't wait to do this again next year. I
heard them joking about wanting to do Sweeney Todd next year.
Well, yeah, Monica goes, what's that movie with Johnny Depp with the scissor hands?
Yeah.
I'm like, Edwards. She says, no, the barbershop. And I'm like, oh, Sweeney Todd? And she goes, they should do that next year. And I'm like, I don't know if that's middle school appropriate.
I don't know.
I mean, whatever. But you know, and Austin said something it was a very proud father moment for me. Was we're leaving, so they did a stage breakdown.
Yeah.
But I had Monica, I had Monica and Logan, my youngest. It was late. He was tired, wasn't feeling good. Monica was hurting. Been a long day for her. Mm-hmm. So I told Austin. I said, look, we got a couple pictures. I said, I'm running your mom and your brother home, and I'm coming right back, and I'll help with whatever stage breakdown or whatever you need, and we'll go.
Right.
Literally, the time it took to go to the middle school, or to leave the middle school, come home and go back to the middle school, which really isn't that long from where we live, they already had the entire set stripped down. There were like 6 dads up there with their power tools, and it was everything was torn down and flat, and they were just sweeping up, and I'm like, well, okay. But we were leaving, and it was just me and Austin, and he says to me, so he had originally tried out for Willy Wonka, and he said to me, I'm kind of glad I didn't get Willy Wonka. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, because I wouldn't have made the friends I've made over the last couple months getting to be an Oompa Loompa.
Right.
And I'm like,
that's cool.
That's such a positive outlook on,
proud parent.
Like, good job for like not holding on to that. Like, man, I really wish I was Wonka.
Yeah.
But accepting and moving on from it. And I was like,
that's cool.
That's cool.
Good on him.
And then he's like, I'm going to miss these guys. I'm not going to be in the same room with all these people again. I'm like, well, you've all got their numbers because they all did this group text that drives me up a wall. But I'm like, you have contact information, Yeah, so.
For sure. Cool.
Do you want to conduct or do you want me to conduct?
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead and conduct.
So
I am the co-host. That's why I pronounce myself co-host.
You are one half of this show, sir. You just like that I'm part of it.
Excellent job hosting. So
whatever. I just got another comment. By the way, Sam is drinking a brand new Dr. Pepper and cream soda. Yep. What is your official review, Sam?
Out of what? Am I giving this
5? Out
of 5?
Oh, we'll do 10. I prefer 5s. I prefer 5s, but whatever.
I give it like a 5.5.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not in love with it.
Do you like Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I like Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
It's just
do you like cream soda?
Cream soda, I could, take or leave it. It's probably the 5.5 of the Dr. Pepper I like, and then the 4.5 of the cream soda.
See, I love red cream.
Yes, that adds up.
I love red cream soda.
That checks out.
And that checks out. All right, we're gonna blow through a couple quick news, and then we want to talk about some stuff. Blow. So I'll get to we're going to do the Batman costume last in the news. Actually, second to last because I want to talk to someone that texted you. Dan DiDio leaves DC Comics, and it's more or less been confirmed he's been fired. And I just want to say, as a personal, I don't even think do you know who that is?
That's really disappointing. I have no idea who that is.
He's one of the co-producers. Do you know who Jim Lee is?
Nope.
Okay. I need to work with you on this, Sam. Anyways, he's one of the co-producers at DC Comics, and ever since Warner Brothers got bought out or joined with AT&T, whichever it is, they've been doing a lot of firing, and a part of that is at DC Comics. And they
say that again. Warner Brothers bought AT&T.
I think AT&T either bought or they just merged.
Okay.
But I think it's AT&T bought.
Okay, because I was kind of wondering who had more money in.
I think AT&T was the aggressor or whatever. Okay. Anyways, which I know it's hit or miss. A lot of people have mixed opinions of him. Here's the thing. Here's what I find funny. And I know people who work with somebody in such a large, huge part of entertainment. they're not going to say bad things about each other.
Yeah.
Especially if they can help them down the road. But usually it's a man, I wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. I always liked them. Those are the type of, keeping sure maintaining goodwill. Mm-hmm. It's very disproportionate to the people who are fans who have theories and opinions as to why certain companies do certain things, makes them have irrational hate towards people involved. Like people who hate specific people at Disney and or Lucas for whatever's going on with the current Star Wars stuff, that type of thing. And they blame him for a lot of the things they don't like, just like they blame Jeff Johnson. They're all just freaking calm down. It is so disproportionate to the negativity from fans who are happy he's gone to the actual creatives involved that are with and not with DC who are like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And we hate to see this man go. He's such a large part working for them for the last 10 years that it's just one of those things. I just wanted to get that off my chest. That was the first quick thing. We'll go ahead. I'm just changing the order of what I typed this in. Activision, I want to get your opinion on this. Activision has subpoenaed Reddit find the identity of the guy that keeps leaking all the Call of Duty leaks that seem to be like 100% accurate. How ridiculous is that to you?
What's the point? I don't.
Well, because here's what it is. I think Activision thinks it's somebody that works for them,
and so they're trying to get to the basis of, is this somebody that we can prosecute?
Right. It's video game stuff, and it's not that, like, nobody cares that much. I don't feel like they do.
I'm sure sometime in your life, or maybe you haven't, but I imagine at some point you've tried to arrange a surprise or something cool to happen. So I get it. You get if you have somebody that ruins that surprise for you and takes the wind out of your sails, that sucks. I mean, that kind of stinks. And then I guess in this case, if you have it continuously happen over and over and again, and you're just hoping to have a big reveal event that you're like, man, we can really just drop all the information and get fans fired up, I could see why you'd be a little upset, especially when you are spending however many millions of dollars to try to make something unique. Well, I can't say unique because, their games are all kind of...
Which leads me to every year they break their own record for biggest game. The amount of money Activision makes off of Call of Duty, that leak doesn't affect your bottom line.
Well, and I think that's the thing, is that you have probably hurt egos at the top that would prefer to be able to display their unique work, the way they plan on it, and they would prefer it. Now, it could be one of those things, what if they were to lean into it more and just be like, you know what, we're just going to put a lot of information out there. There's other ways to deal with this that I think would be more creative and kind of would show like some originality from these producers, but I'm not them. It's not my $1 million. So I can kind of understand why they'd be frustrated. But going to that point seems a little bit...
Okay, let me ask you this as a consumer of things and internet user.
Yes.
Legally, don't you think Reddit has a right to not divulge that information?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think,
Would that make you worry if Reddit just went, okay, here?
Handed it over? Would it make me concerned about the anonymity?
Well, not even that. It's more the privacy rights of just why is this company allowed to just hand you my information? Like if you're not physically doing anything.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's probably more legal concerns with it, and if it is somebody that is within their employment, then they're breaking a contract agreement. True. And so that then would probably supersede the fact that Reddit has, stuff in place of saying, hey, these people, you can't, we're not going to sell you their names, we're not going to, give you them rights. But if it's in a contract that says, hey, if this is an employee of ours, you have to let us know.
Right. So, not to help your argument any, but Sony has dropped out of PAX East and the Game Developers Conference. To be fair, Facebook also pulled out of the Game Developers Conference. Now, their reasoning for both is the coronavirus. And let's just talk about how stupid that name is. I'm a little over the name because all I think of is like, well, then drink a different beer. Yeah. Which, by the way, did you see Corona's offering $15 million to change the name to Bud Light Virus?
Oh, no.
That's like a thing they put out today saying, can we please change that?
I saw some stuff about, talking about the Corona name. So, which is funny because in LA I had a Corona.
Did you? Do you like Corona? I can't.
Every now and then with Mexican food.
Yeah. So that's racist. I don't know. I just wanted to say it.
I think it's pretty good. So, when is PAX East? When is GDC?
GDC is in like 4 weeks.
Okay. And when's PAX?
I think this week.
So, you're gonna owe me some pho? Fa, bro?
Are we putting that 1 week window that I talked about?
I'll let you have the 1 week window as
my grace period in case like the February ends Sunday and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday they go, oh, surprise, here's all the information, which would really piss me off if that's what happened. But I want that grace window to prevent that.
But just so it's understood, during that grace period, we are neither of us, or then we lose the bet, basically.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Stalemate.
We basically, it's a stalemate, but at this point, it's not looking good.
And just so that everybody knows what happened today, which I thought was funny, Sam sent me a text just saying, hey, you want to have pho Thursday? And I'm like, man, if February isn't over, I still have a week, plus I want my grace period. And he's like, no, just to have lunch. And I'm like, oh.
I want some pho. I want some pho, man.
Right, yeah. No. We can do that. Xbox did release a whole bunch of information this week. And now oh, that's right. I took a picture of it on my phone. Sorry. I'm a little disorganized here. Gee, shocker, right? What I want to do, by the way, is I have a laptop sitting over here I'm trying to get that works better. And so that I can actually do this on the laptop instead of this. So I just always have everything open. Xbox released some details. It will have 12 teraflops.
Yeah. Don't
know what that means. A variable rate shading. Hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, quick resume for multiple games, which we've talked about in the past. We thought that'd be really cool. Yeah. And smart delivery. Now, smart delivery, this is something I wanted to talk to you about. They're saying that anything you buy, not anything. They're setting specific titles that if you buy it on Xbox One between now and the PS or the Xbox One X, Series X, whatever, you will get it on both consoles.
Okay.
And the way it will work is, say...
Ooh, I think I know where you're going, but keep going.
So say you bought... I'm trying to think of what the game was that they... Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Say you buy Halo Infinite for the Xbox One. And then they drop it and release it with the Xbox Series X. Yeah. If you buy it digitally or disc, you will get a copy of it on both systems.
Yeah.
And say you keep your Xbox One and you have the Xbox Series X and you buy them digitally, it will download the specific version for your console. So if you buy a game, like for example, say you bought GTA 5.
Okay.
Let's say they remastered it for that.
Series X. Yeah.
And say you had an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and an Xbox Series X, and you owned it digitally.
Okay.
And you bought it. If you download the game on Xbox 360, it'll download the 360 version. If you download it on the Xbox One, it'll be that version, and it won't be upscaling it. It'll literally be giving you that version.
Okay.
And the big CD Projekt Red is the game that they use to announce this with is Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So if you buy Cyberpunk on the Xbox One, you will get it on the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
And it'll be the Xbox One X version, not an upscaled version of the other one. This is something I've always thought they needed to do near console releases. Because if it's the year you're releasing a console and you're going to be releasing games on both, it just makes sense to have some kind of support for that.
Yeah.
Before I get into a little more in depth on the CD Projekt Red part of this, what is your take on this?
You know what excites me about this a little bit is that you can see that Microsoft is pulling out all the stops. they are going like gung-ho, like we're going, full tilt or bust, basically. We are going to do everything we can to make our place to play, on our Xbox the most appealing for anybody that's coming into these new systems, which is kind of really cool to see that type of attitude towards the next generation. They're just saying, hey, are you concerned that, you're gonna all the games that you get on your Xbox One X or Series X isn't gonna work? It's like, no, they're gonna be available for you back and forth. They're gonna be there for you, so you're not gonna lose that. All the Xbox made games on the new consoles for at least a year will be work on the Xbox One X. So if you're one of those people that's like, well, I'm not an early adopter, I'm not going to pick it up right away,
which you've said a couple times, you're not sure if
I'm not 100% sure,
right.
But it's one of those that it's comforting to know, like, say that I'm like, you know what, I am ready to go ahead and make the switch. If I then have these games, it's like, I'm going to know it's going to work on the Series X or vice versa. Like, it's going to go back and forth, which is going to be nice to see. The multiple games thing is pretty awesome, and for them to actually come out and officially announce that, because I wasn't sure. That you and I were kind of speculating on, like, that sounds really cool. I think when we were talking about it, it was with Sony, mentioning like, hey, this may happen.
Well, they were talking about with both how powerful supposedly both these consoles are, that this is something you can do,
right?
And so, like,
but did we know it was actually going to happen?
No, it wasn't a thing.
I didn't know it had been confirmed. I was like, that's kind of cool. If let's say I'm playing Rainbow Six with you guys on one, and then we want to jump into PUBG, or then we want to jump into GTA. We can just like kind of go through the games and not have that long load time.
Although I will say that might be different, though. It might be different if you're playing online games, because if it requires the internet connection to establish, it might kick you from one thing to the other. But I don't know. Just like
the load screens of just bringing up the game. Grand Theft Auto alone has such a long load time.
Oh yeah.
When you first boot it up, it's kind of like, okay, we're eventually getting into this game.
We'll use PlayStation as an example, just because I want to. So say you're playing Last of Us 2, and your buddies say, hey, let's hop on to GTA 5. Let's hop on to Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah. You can go ahead and kick that open because you're not playing multiplayer on Last of Us 2, and you can let that load and do its thing, and then.
No, I really like it, and I saw a little article that was kind of just comparing the specs that they're seeing now with the Xbox Series X with like a PC, and it just talks about, hey, with these different components, this is how much you could kind of estimate it might cost you. And that's the thing, I've never been a PC player, and the nice thing with the Xbox Series X is I just think they're offering you a good package. Now granted, I don't know how much it costs. My guesstimate would be the ultimate high they would ever go would be about $600. I think that would be
for their high-end version.
For the high-end version, that's my thought. I don't think they will go any more than that.
What was the One X 5?
I can't remember what it was when it first came out. It may have been 5.
I feel like it was $550.
I can't remember.
Okay.
Because I got it at a cheaper price too. But I do think that if they hit 5 or if they hit 4, holy cow, with their high end, I don't know many people that could say no to that.
Right. I would agree. Now, part of the reason I want to go back to the CD Projekt Red version of this, of them doing this with Cyberpunk, rubber nipple, rubber baby bumpy bumpers, whatever. So after they announced this, Cyberpunk, the official Cyberpunk Twitter handle run by CD Projekt Red, posted, gamers should never be forced to purchase the same game twice or pay for upgrade. Owners of Cyberpunk whatever for Xbox One will receive the Xbox Series X upgrade for free when available. Mm-hmm. So I posted this on something on Reddit. So I have this opens up a whole bunch of questions for me. Because first of all, does this paint CD Projekt Red into a corner? Because they could, if they don't say anything, this is a Microsoft feature. Yeah. This is something Microsoft is doing. They're the one that'll be ponying up the fee for the new copy.
Right.
They don't have a hand or say in anything. Like nobody else does. It's purely a Microsoft thing. By saying this makes this sound like then they have no reason to give out the game on PS5.
Right.
Because now this sounds like it's a choice by the publisher.
Right.
Do they paint themselves in a corner, or are they hinting, more or less saying, yeah, we're not going to say PS4 because this is an Xbox announcement. Or are they basically confirming this is something PlayStation is going to do too?
That's going to do as well. That's a good point. I didn't really think about it like that.
Because I read that and I'm like, well, now wait a minute. You can't tout this as a Microsoft feature now because the publisher is getting involved. Mm-hmm. So you're basically saying they're partaking in this and giving away the copy with it. So if they don't do it with the PlayStation 5, right. I think you're going to piss off a lot of PlayStation players that are going to go, 100%. Well, why wouldn't you do that with that? The other thing that I saw somebody say, or brought up with me, which made me wonder then, maybe it's something Sony doesn't know if they want to do, and CD Projekt Red is using this open space as a nudge to say, maybe you should do that. Either way, it puts an interesting spin on it for me, because I'm like, so even if Sony doesn't do it, you're putting a target on you to say, well, you should offer it. You're right. Nobody should have to.
Well, I mean, the way that tweet reads would be suggestive to me that it would be for both consoles, and there'd be no question about it.
And see, so they're retweeting Xbox. Of course, they're not going to use PlayStation in their tweet. Right. So
yeah, Xbox has definitely, has paid them some type of money to kind of be the main console that they're discussing. Right. So I think they would plan on doing the same thing for PlayStation. And like you said, the thought would be if something didn't go through with it, it wouldn't fall on their shoulders. They'd probably say, hey, this is something we said we'd offer, but it's up to them to accept. Right. So we'll see.
Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting thing. Once I read that, for some reason I was like, well, now why is the publisher saying something? Right. So,
good point.
I lost something I wanted to talk about that I thought I had open, and I'm not finding it. Also, I'll just move along. Let's go ahead and talk about the Batman costume. Okay. What's your thoughts on the Batman costume?
I think it looks fine.
So I've told you and like 5 other people, I hate the damn ears. Yeah. I really hate, and I also said this. There was a shot that was released that was kind of a backside angle of him sitting on the bike, and the ears look better. Yeah. But the front shot literally looks like 2 lines that look like little antennas coming off of a bug.
He likes Ant-Man.
He's an Ant-Man fan. Yeah. Bats eat ants.
See, that's why he likes him. He's trying to attract him. Trying to look like him.
It's so frustrating.
It was very, I think, simplistic. In some ways, like the motorcycle itself didn't have a lot of, gadgets or gears. Right. I did like when you looked a little closer at the outfit together, you saw a lot, like his utility belt looked like there was a lot of gear on there that he actually would use. In addition to whatever the gauntlets are, I don't know if there's something that they're used for, like darts or...
They look a lot like the gauntlets worn by the Talon from Court of Owls. But yeah, if you look it up online, there looks like there's a lot drawing from different comic aspects and histories of Batman, which I appreciate. Yeah. I really do appreciate. And since it's supposed to take place in like his second year of being, right, there's also could be the evolution thing where this is what it kind of looks like an early stage of him as Batman. And since Reeves is on for a 3 Batman movie, and assuming it succeeds and goes forward, then this little evolution to the second movie and then on to the third.
Well, and the gear looks like something that you could kind of put together as far as, like some of the like rough and tumble of it. It's like shoulder pads and other things to kind of protect yourself. And I didn't even know that like the little bat symbol was like the gun, kind of like.
Well, that's a rumor. No one's actually said that, but no one's officially said that. But I can see where it does kind of look like a dismantled version of that,
of like the handle, each side of the handle and everything. But it looks unique in that way that it doesn't look so. It's not a Tim Burton type suit that's like plastic, rubbery and stuff like that. It's not a Ben Affleck
rubber
type
nipples.
That's like put together. He's been Batman for years. It's
has like what looks like battle scars in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of built and formed from years of practice. And what works best. Even like the Christian Bale look,
military look.
Yeah, a little bit military. It almost has like a little bit more of an edge to it of like, hey, this is what I found protects me the best, and is a little bit more form-fitting, but I can kind of move and get around, and it keeps my body safe for the most part, which I'm kind of like, okay, like you said, there could be an evolution through this period in this time series.
One of the things that I know catches a lot of flack, but I really like it, is the collar. because it's got that actual raised collar, so it looks like it's more like the cape and the cowl are separated.
Yeah,
they're not one solid piece, and they're more formed to the collar, and which I've always kind of liked. One, for movement, because it lets the actor have a more natural movement to it. Plus, it has a Batman noir type, look to it.
What do you think of like the eyes? You know how like on the motorcycle they were white, and I assume that's just like a goggle.
I think so. Even in the screen test thing, it looks like it's just his eyes.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even look like they put black on or anything. Right. I think that's going to be CG'd. Whatever they do with him, which I've always, I kind of always liked the white eyes, like what they did with Deadpool.
Right.
Like, and like maybe they had the points where they then made it white. Having said that, I think it's a cool look, but for as realistic of a look I think Reeves might be going for, I don't necessarily like it.
Pull it off.
I don't know if it'll work right. So, or the only other thing I can think of is if they do it but made it solid black.
Yeah.
Or
I know it was kind of interesting because I think they attempted it with the Dark Knight. Whenever he had like the Echo Vision, it kind of whited out.
Right.
And even with that, I'm like, I get the idea, the utility of it, but it doesn't quite fit 100%. It didn't look 100% right. It was okay.
I feel like am I off in was there one shot in BVS where they had him with the white eyes? Like he was doing something and I don't remember. Yeah. Or maybe I just saw a shitload of Photoshop.
I think you might be right though. I feel like for some reason there was
some kind of something they did.
Where he had like a cover, but I can't remember.
No. Well, I'm hoping, and again, there's a lot of things, and we talked about this, and I've talked about it with everybody. It wasn't Pattinson on the bike. Yeah. It was definitely a stunt double. And that also could be everything that he was wearing could just be for the stunt double.
Right.
It's not exact. It's not as refined. It's obviously going to be bulkier because Pattinson isn't that thick or that built.
Yeah.
So, well, there were rumors he was having trouble putting on some bulk for it. Something that I blew my mind, and just kind of like one of the things, like this man started his career playing a vampire.
Yeah.
And now he's playing a bat.
That's right.
Is that weird? Maybe it's just me.
I like the comparisons you draw sometimes.
I know. It was like, wait, he was a vampire.
Wasn't he in Harry Potter though? He was Cedric
Diggory.
Diggory.
True, but
so I don't know if that really like blew him up. But.
How big of a role really was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter?
I don't know. I guess he died.
In the books,
Spoiler.
the books, he was a bigger role than he was in the movies. Try and move this along a little quicker. I got all that.
You know what we got to do next week?
What?
Because I know we don't have time for it. Best Picture talk.
Yeah, I put it on here, but we're not
going to be able to.
We're not going to get to that because of some other stuff. This isn't on my list, but it'll segue into one of the last things I want to talk about. Bob Iger stepped down from Disney today.
What?
Yeah, he said I'm
CEO,
stepping.
Right?
Yeah, I'm stepping down immediately, and they've already put somebody in his place. Do you think he was just done, or do you think this man basically turned Disney into
the powerhouse that it is?
Yeah, exactly. Everything it is that everybody knows it to be.
Somebody's got something on him.
You think so?
It's gotta be.
So something happened in the Weinstein trial or something.
Smoking crack out of somebody's booty, or I don't know. They got a picture of it, and there's got to be something going on. Why would you step down? How old is this guy?
Oh, he's like 50-something or 60-something?
I mean, granted, he's got more money than he needs at this point.
Well, no, right. And what was the heir to the Disney fortune? The woman?
Yeah.
Whoever Disney's granddaughter or whatever. Yeah. She was like, this man doesn't need the pay that he's getting daily.
That's worrisome. I don't know.
So
who did they put in place?
I don't remember their name.
Okay. Keanu Reeves, though.
No, not Keanu Reeves.
Not Brandon Nichols, right?
Correct. Not
That'd
Brandon
be interesting.
Nichols.
We get more and more.
That would be
comic book movies.
Very interesting. That's speaking of worrisome. I just got. Oh, never mind. I see what it is. I just got a thing saying I had a new login on my Instagram from an Apple iPhone, and I'm like, no, And then I realized that wasn't.
Our life crosses into the show.
Sorry. Well, I'm doing this on a phone.
No. You're fine.
So the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which I'm not even seeing the picture that I sent you anymore. There was, it was because I sent you. There it is. I found it. I did send you this picture. I will talk about when Pixar's Onward comes out next week.
Yes.
They released the social embargo.
Okay.
And I sent this to you, and all I said was I wanted to talk to you about this, but I didn't elaborate what or why. I'm just going to read this. It was from a review on a quick nugget that was posted on, I think, Twitter. A roundup of early critic reactions to Pixar's Onward. The social embargo has lifted, and critics are sharing their thoughts on Pixar's latest contribution to animation, Onward. The film sounds like it's a certified tearjerker, but some critics admitted that while the movie is good, they're not convinced it's Pixar's best. And it annoyed the shit out of me, because here's my question to you. At what point do you stop trying to make every movie that a company makes its best?
Well, I mean, Pixar's kind of put themselves in this situation where they're known to make these critically acclaimed movies that nobody else has achieved, especially in animation,
right.
Like CGI and stuff like that. And so, I mean, it's their own, to their own detriment at this point. Like
they're so good it affects them.
Is it fair? No, absolutely not. Is it fair that every movie they make, they're like, this has to be, better than that one, the best, the most amazing thing they've ever seen? No, but they put themselves up on that pedestal by their hard work,
right?
Where they've gotten. But I mean, I get it. Like, not every movie can be a blockbuster. Not even a blockbuster. That's what I mean. Not every movie is going to hit the pinnacle of some of the best Pixar movies. I'm
like one of these people. Like, okay, so if Toy Story 4 comes out, and you want to say, well, it's not the best Toy Story, that makes sense to me. Yeah. A movie that is nothing like any of the other movies they've done comes out, well, it's not their best.
Yeah.
Like, they have a new movie coming out. Hey, this one, like, it's the same issue I have with video games.
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody comes out with, I don't know, whatever Naughty Dog next, it's a completely new IP, which is going to have roadblocks or road. You know what I mean? There's going to be issues with it.
Right.
What was my brain shut off. The company that made Killzone that then made
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, had that game come out and it, they've now, if they decide to do it, if Guerrilla comes out to do, well, now our next game's not going to be a Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's going to be something even. So they went from first person shooter to action adventure open world gameplay, and now they want to do a linear thing. Like, you can't always compare just because it's a video game to the 3 video game series they did before. I just think it's unfair to the publisher.
Well, and you can't knock it out of the park. I mean, let's be honest at this point. Anything House does, makers of Untitled BS games, they're not going to do better than what they've done. I'm sorry.
And if they do, holy shit.
And if they do,
but you're not going to expect it. Right, but you're not going to expect it. Like, at some point, you've got to let a company go on expecting them to be their best ever. And just, like, in terms of what they made. Was it good? Did it say, yeah, this was a good movie.
But
Let's go with it.
Say there's something you love and there's multiple of them that have come out. Don't you kind of go in with preconceived notions that you're hoping it's going to be better?
Well, yeah. And
then if it doesn't it let you down slightly? If it's not better.
But that's of things that I love. Like, I love animation, but I'm not going to hold one animated movie upon all other animated movies.
Like, when I saw the movie Blade, I mean, it was pretty much a masterpiece. And it kept getting better.
It kept getting better over 3 movies.
And then, honestly, you introduced Ryan Reynolds in the last movie, and it's amazing.
But let's say the guy that directed Blade directed Toy Story 2. Well, it just wasn't Blade. You can't compare the two.
Well, what it should have been.
Hey, Pixar makes the new Blade movie.
Okay.
But leaves it completely 100% Blade and doesn't make it kid friendly.
That'd be awesome.
Animated Blade.
One thing I did hear, and I don't know if this is true or not, is that once the movie Into the Spider-Verse came out, the people at Pixar were like, we're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we are in trouble because Sony has come out with a unique art style and that like,
right.
And I guess from what I heard, the CEOs like made the employees watch it multiple times to be like, look what they've achieved. This is unique. This is special.
But at the same time, and while I agree with that whole thing, the problem with that is they can really only use that for comic book movies, animated comic book movies.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's in essence making a movie look like a comic book.
Oh, and they did such a good job.
They did an amazing job.
So are you looking forward to Onward?
I am. Partly because of the cast. I like Tom Holland, the kid that plays Spider-Man, and I've come to really like Chris Pratt. So I'm really looking forward to see their dynamic in an animated one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I know I kind of bagged on this, like when you brought it up that I was, but it's as it gets closer. Well, I bagged on it a lot. I have troubles picturing Chris Pratt out of any role other than like Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec. He's just such a
even as Star-Lord.
Yeah, he's the same character. He's Andy Dwyer, Star-Lord,
but
he's just a nutbag, you know, like he's a goofball. And that's fine. I think Star-Lord probably fits well because he is goofy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not like this super serious role.
Have you seen the Jurassic World movies? I've never seen the Jurassic. I haven't seen any of them.
I saw the first new one and I liked it. I just can't get over it. He just doesn't fit. And like back in the day, whenever they were making like new Indiana Jones movies, which I know they're making a fifth one, but when they were making it, they were talking about passing the mantle, and he was mentioned, and I'm like, no way.
Right.
I can't buy it. This guy's too you try to tell me this guy's gonna like be smart enough to go and figure out all these puzzles and sound intelligent, and, you know, and I'm like, no. It's just not going to work
because you can't remove the.
I can't remove it. He's stuck in my mind like that.
If you had to move that on, do you find a nobody or do you find?
I find a Brandon Nichols. Put him in that role.
Anyways,
that's how I work it. I just say, you go.
Nobody's going to buy a big fat guy falling off of trying to climb stuff and collect things. You are a more physical fit specimen for that role than I am.
Well, you know how you fix it. You just put Blade in it.
Just put Wesley Snipes or Blade the character.
Blade the character. He fixes most anything. You know, let's be honest. Like Harrison Ford has said it himself. He's not passing that mantle to anybody else. He's not planning on it while he's alive.
Right.
I don't really think there's anybody else that would fit that role. I can't come up with somebody off the top of my head that I think I would be like, yeah, that next Indiana Jones. And let's be honest. After the fourth one, just stop. They were so bad. They're so bad, and I can't believe that they're planning on making a fifth one with an older Harrison Ford.
That's somebody, and I'm gonna. I don't know if I should say this. That's somebody who needs to retire from acting, because he, in my opinion, is starting to hit that point where he's already an old crotchety man.
If you want to come on our podcast and argue that with Brandon, you're welcome.
He's already an old crotchety man doing interviews.
Yeah.
Like, he just released a movie this past week, and it got panned.
Was that the dog one?
Yes. Okay. I don't remember the name of it, but it was not well received by pretty much anybody. So do you want to go ahead and talk about some Siege?
Oh, about the Kool-Aid Man?
What?
The Kool-Aid Man? Siege?
Okay.
Did you say Siege?
I said Siege.
Rainbow Six?
Rainbow Six Siege. Did I miss something? Like what?
Did you not see the new operators?
Yeah, I saw them. Oh, I see.
Man.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick. There was something else I read today. One of the publishers said they can see Siege going free to play with just the operators, you know, the season. Like, yeah, well, so you know, kind of how Destiny just did. They're like, look, we're going to give you the game.
That's good. I need some noobs to take out, make me feel good about myself.
So I had a discussion with somebody about this today, and that made them actually go, ugh. Like, I don't want a whole influx of newbies that don't even know how to play the game.
Well, free to play just conjures up thoughts of like you pay for everything and ads in your face, and you know that's what initially hits. But I know that like they're not going to be popping up ads in your face on a console, but sometimes it just does feel kind of gross, like getting free to play. Because it's like, I get it. Now, granted, I got it, you know, super cheap, but I feel like just a small barrier to entry is kind of nice because then people are more willing to try. Where what if you join and you got like, you know, goobers that are just like, oh, it was free, so now I'm going to start smashing everything with my hammer, and walking through, and I'm going to be Montauk and have my shield up and just stand in the corner, and you're just like, cool, great. So glad this went free to play. So Ubisoft, maybe rethink that.
Well, maybe.
As head of your studio. Right now.
All right, so...
They just text me.
Did they? That was quick. Harrison Ford there too. Oh, crotchety man. So I'm gonna go over with you the year 5 roadmap for Siege and see what you're thinking.
Who's the other operator? You've got
that was that chick that was showed her on the moon. Apparently she can go and like. So what's the girl that places the hologram of herself?
Oh, that's her. Yeah.
So this one is the one that actually will run in.
It.
Yeah,
that's right.
But she can't actually shoot or do anything, and doesn't actually ping anybody. It's gonna be annoying as shit.
That's gonna be annoying. Is it an attack? She's an attacker.
Yes.
Yes. It's gonna be rough. The one thing I am happy about with the Kool-Aid Man is that he can knock down shield guys.
Yes, that was my big takeaway from that. I was like, ooh.
And did you see they pulled? They disabled Clash
again.
I saw a pretty funny thing that said they disabled Clash, and it was her sitting in a wheelchair for the 3rd time. And then they realized, just kill her. They need to get rid of her and just come up with an entirely new character. Yeah, she's bad.
So S1, S2, S3, S4. I don't know if this is season 4. So year 5. Yeah. Season 1. I guess that's how they're breaking that down. 2 new operators, which we just talked about. Rework of the organ map. 1 event. 1 arcade playlist.
Ooh, I'm excited about the event.
What do you think it is?
They're so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, we already had Valentine's Day, so it's what day would they release it on?
Is this like? Do you think this is separated in quarters, like quarter 1,
Probably
quarter 2, quarter 3?
Probably so. I heard they were going to release less operators throughout the year, so I bet it's in quarters now.
So
what holiday would it hit that would correlate with a funny?
Or maybe it's Easter.
Maybe could be
something, and then a battle pass. They've started incorporating battle passes. I know how much you love that. Session 2 is 2 more operators. I don't know those flags.
I think that one might be Switzerland.
So that's what I was thinking, but I don't know what the top one is.
I think it's a made up one.
They're reworking House, which I'm worried about because I really like House.
Don't mess it up.
Another event and another battle pass. 3 is 1 operator.
Oh, wow.
It says core gameplay and reworks. So they're not messing with any maps. Nope, I take that back. Core gameplay and reworks. They're not. I see what they're doing.
The yacht, or take it out.
They're reworking Skyscraper.
I'm okay with
which
that.
I am.
Skyscraper just confuses me when I get into it.
There's too many levels. There's too much crap going on.
I mean, I know I'm just probably dumb too, like trying to find the stairs and try to figure out where to go. Yeah, but Skyscraper could use a big overhaul.
Right.
That's good to hear.
I'm not sure. Next to that, 1 new operator. What is it? Is that a flag? What is that?
Which one? Here?
The top. Yeah, I see. It was
something. Classified, I think is what it says.
Is that what it said? Ooh, I wonder what that is. So then another event plus arcade playlist. And then season 4 or whatever, 1 new operator, another core gameplay and reworks. Chalet rework? I'm trying to remember what map that is. Is that
is it the one that looks like it's in France, maybe?
Maybe.
Okay.
Another arcade arcade playlist and 1 event. Okay. And then a battle pass. Do you like that? Is that on par with all the ones you've done in the past?
Well, you lose quite a few operators from that, which is kind of surprising. So you're only getting 6 total
right.
The year, where you were typically getting like 2. And I think it was releasing, maybe it was every quarter. So you at least got 8, so you're losing 2. But, they are kind of getting to that point, like, what do? You're kind of
right.
Not running out of ideas, but I don't know what else you can do that would make sense and not break the game.
So here's the question. They've said they're going to release it on PS5 and Xbox One Series X.
Yeah.
Do you think, in terms at least for the Xbox, do you think that'll apply to the you don't have to pay for games twice? They're going to give you an Xbox One X version?
I think it might.
Or Xbox Series X?
I think it's very possible that it'll just transfer over. Well, and at the very least, you can play it backwards compatible.
Right.
So.
Maybe they go free to play at the launch of the new systems.
I mean, it's done probably better than they ever, thought it was going to, and has lasted,
right.
We're into the 5th year. That's pretty dang good for a multiplayer.
Plus,
game.
I'm sure they make a lot of money off their passes for the season and their year stuff. And staring at his phone longingly. Is your wife worried because you never got back to her?
No, it's okay.
Okay. We will stop this family. No? Okay.
We would, but we don't need to.
Are you still excited about Siege?
Yeah, I actually played the other day.
Did you?
I hopped on and I was just like, you know what? It's been forever since I've gotten my dailies, and I just wanted to, kind of play. I ended up with winning. We won the game, the rounds, and I was the MVP. So that was awesome.
Nice.
I was like, wow, that felt really good. I figured I was gonna suck at this.
Yeah.
Which I typically do when I come back into it.
Is there anything that you would want to add to the game?
To Siege? Oh, a few more maps. I know they kind of keep reworking these ones,
right.
but I would like some additional ones that were brand new. Maybe whenever they do come out with some of the fun arcade ones, for it to kind of stick around a little bit longer, like an arcade playlist. That was something a little bit goofier.
Right.
Because when you're playing, I know it's silly, but you do feel the pressure where you're like, man, I don't want to screw my team up and stuff. But on some of the ones that are just arcade, it's just been silly, and we've been cracking up half the time because it's so ridiculous.
Right. I didn't get to play the one in the kids' room, or where you guys, everything was in bright and colorful, and
in the plane.
In the plane, yes, that's what it was. That's what it was.
And I was like,
because
Mr. Teddy's gonna.
That was right before I started playing with you, and I remember saying to you, "I keep seeing these pictures of this weird, colorful. What the hell am I missing here?"
And that one was pretty funny. So to say the least, even though it didn't change gameplay much, just kind of the decorum of what you were playing. So, but I still enjoy it, and we just I think have had a little bit of a hiatus due to my job changing, and
Sam.
we've actually just kind of wanted to try something different.
Yeah, I think
which has been funny because it hasn't worked out very well.
I feel like it hasn't. Nobody's tried my 2 games yet, but we've always tried everybody else.
What's the 2 games?
Destiny and Division 2, but you won't even spend $3 on Division 2.
I've got Destiny now.
Well, maybe we should try Destiny next.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
I do think you might have to play the opening part of the game before you have access to the Crucible, though. I'll tell you what, you go upstairs and put it on my system and I'll do it for you. That's really all I got. I do want to throw out an idea I've been thinking about that I think
I love these.
Both
Brandon
Xbox,
Nichols, random ideas.
That both Xbox and Sony needs to do. Okay. So,
on.
You know how if you own the system, everybody on the system benefits from Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, that type of thing. I think that should still be a thing, but I think they need to create a family plan that gives you up to 4 people. Okay. And the way it works is you assign somebody's account to your family. Mm-hmm. You can only be a part of one family, but then any game that the head of the house, so to speak, purchases, no matter what system a person that's a part of the family plan puts on their system, they have complete access to. So they have this game sharing thing now. So my PlayStation upstairs is actually set as Dave's default PlayStation.
Right.
So all the games he owns, I can play on my PlayStation. All the games I own, because somehow it's also still set as mine, the boys can play on my PlayStation. Mm-hmm. But I can come down here and install something on my son's PlayStation and he can't touch it. And it works the same way with Xbox. Mm-hmm. Say I went to your house and put my account on your Xbox and made it the default. You'd have access to all my games.
Right.
It kind of still does that, but now you're saying, look, you have a family of 4, Apple does it with their stuff. You have a family account, so everybody has access to the same songs that somebody buys. Games, don't you? Well, no. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
I got Austin GTA for his birthday because he's been playing it a lot. But he's been playing it with a friend of his, but he can't play it without PlayStation Plus. Right? So gotcha. I also got him a 1 month. And luckily, they're both cheap right now.
Right.
So I got him a 1 month. But he's actually, the way I have his name set up, he is part of my family because I control him because he's a child on my account. Right. So since you have that setup already initiated, give them the access to the account like Apple does, right, where you can download the same purchases you've made with apps and play them and just put a cap on it. Make like a family of 4.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a cool little feature for anybody to have.
Yeah.
Especially if you're buying. So, and if you also look at it this way, if you're a parent that buys your kid a lot of stuff, but you also play.
Yeah.
And then you have a kid that goes off to college.
I guess my question is with that, why not just like with, my son, I just have the one account that's just mine. I guess if you want to play together with him, right? That's
right.
The thought process.
Right. Well, so
is that you'd have to have separate accounts.
Well, so like the reason we have 2 PlayStations in this house now is Austin wanted his own.
Yeah.
So here's the example. Kai saves up a whole bunch of money, but he's limited to being able to play the Xbox with games when he can't play with you.
Right.
That are those type of games. And 2, he, maybe just has hit that age where it's okay and you don't care how much he plays, or he's a little more active with other people.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you spend your money on your Xbox, but now he doesn't have any games.
Yeah.
And he wants to be able to play the same games he's always played with you, but now he has to re-buy them.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I can understand it for like a family thing, and who's to say that they won't introduce it?
Right. I just it's something. It's more been me around adapting a house with gamers.
Right.
Between Dave, Austin, and Logan.
Yeah.
And me, we all play video games. Yeah. So I think it'd be a helpful little.
Where occasionally my kid, he'll say, hey, can I get, this or that? And I'm like, you put it on my account. But I don't ever think of it as, But no, I get it. So.
You're just tired and you look like you want to go home.
No, I mean, I'm tired, but.
Did you scratch your face?
Yes. Shaving.
Oh, okay.
I know.
I was hoping
some. You think I know how to do this by now?
I was kind of hoping one of your patients was like,
no,
don't get near me.
I did worry about a patient kicking me in the face today, but that didn't happen. Thank goodness.
Nice. My son asked me to Zerbert him earlier, and then he almost kicked me in the face when I went to do it. I'm like, bro, you told me to do this. I don't know what your problem is.
Wait, what did he ask you to do?
Like, were you on their stomach? Zerbert. That's what we call it. Is that not what the word is?
Raspberry.
Well,
I don't know.
That's a raspberry.
Potato.
It's 2 different
raspberry.
Things.
Whatever that thing you just said.
Raspberry. I said Zerbert.
Raspberry Zerbert.
A raspberry Zerbert. Yeah. There you go. All right, sir.
Well, this has been episode 16 of Rubber Nipples. So, Brandon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we will see you all next week.
Peace. They can't see you do that.